Young Sheldon proved to be a successful The Big Bang Theory prequel. But not all remaining Pasadena gang members have a childhood worthy of a prequel. When The Big Bang Theory ended in 2019, the cancellation came as a shock, considering how popular it still was. Ultimately, the decision to end the comedy stemmed from Jim Parsons' decision to leave as Sheldon Cooper. While The Big Bang Theory was technically an ensemble, the socially inept genius was its true lead. The rest of the cast knew that, so they opted to wrap up the show instead of continuing without him. Despite that, the franchise lived via Young Sheldon, its very first spin-off that tackled Sheldon's famed childhood in Texas. While it started as supplementary viewing to the nerd-centric sitcom, it eventually found its identity in its 7-year run. Young Sheldon ended at the top of its game, with some of its strongest and best episodes towards the end of its time on the air. With that, talks about who else from the Pasadena gang can get the same prequel treatment have been going on. That said, while the rest of Sheldon's friends in California were interesting, they had different childhoods. 6 Young Leonard, Johnny Galecki, in Chuck Lorre and Bill Prade's original, The Big Bang Theory pilot. Only Sheldon and his best friend, Leonard, made it to the actual show. The pair's friendship was the backbone of the original series, and while that wasn't as focused on in its latter seasons, especially as Sheldon's relationship with Amy became more serious, Leonard remained central in other ways. His love story with Penny, albeit ending in controversy, considering their divisive pregnancy arc, was still central to the show. That said, Leonard's most overlooked plot, however, involved his relationship with his parents, particularly his mom, Beverly. Admittedly, it would be great to see Galecki reprise his role as Leonard in another The Big Bang Theory show, even in a voiceover capacity. If the proposed series follows the format of Sheldon's prequel, it may even be able to settle the Leonard is dead theory that stemmed from the Young Sheldon final. The problem with this, however, is that Leonard's New Jersey childhood sounded miserable. The Big Bang Theory didn't reveal as much about it as it did with Sheldon's backstory, but based on his stories, he had a really lonely time growing up. The biggest argument against young Leonard came via the Young Sheldon Season 2 finale, which showed a version of the character in 1992 looking sad. The nerd-centric sitcom offered a preview of the kind of environment Leonard had before moving to California. Beverly was emotionally manipulative and negligent. His dad was almost non-existent because his mom overpowered him. Leonard didn't seem to have any kind of relationship with his siblings. At least Sheldon still had ties to Missy and even Georgie. The biggest argument against young Leonard came via the Young Sheldon Season 2 finale, which showed a version of the character in 1992 looking sad. While some drama is good to elevate comedy, Leonard's backstory may not be funny enough to warrant a sitcom. 5 Young Amy, Mayim Bialik. Amy was a late addition to the cast of The Big Bang Theory, only arriving in the Season 3 finale after Howard and Raj plugged Sheldon's details into an online dating site to find his perfect match. The result was the socially inept genius' eventual life partner. By Season 4, Amy was promoted to a series regular as she developed a dynamic with the rest of the Pasadena gang. Throughout the character's time on the sitcom, she had one of the most transformative arcs. When she first debuted, she was essentially the female version of Sheldon. They were both smart but lacking in terms of their social and emotional skills. Because of this, it's safe to say that Amy likely had similar experiences with his husband growing up in California. Since Young Sheldon already extensively tackled this via Sheldon, there's little motivation to see it done again with another character. Even with a different family dynamic than the Cooper family won't be enough reason to do a young Amy. 4 Young Raj, Kunal Nayyar. While The Big Bang Theory final gave everyone a rather happy send-off, things were different for Raj. Despite the opportunity to give him the ending he deserved when the show introduced Anu, the sitcom eventually cut the pair's romance out of the blue, supposedly because the producers weren't satisfied with the kind of reaction they were hoping to get. This resulted in a rather disappointing send-off for Raj on all fronts, as his friends moved to new eras of their lives by getting married, having kids, or winning the Nobel Prize. He was left pretty much stagnant.